everybody, and welcome back to Musings by Nikki. Today we are going to keep working on our nature journal, and we're going to make some, we're going to make a flip out like this, a flip out page, and then here's a different version of it that I made. So we're going to make these out of a book page and some napkins and talk about that. And then if we have time to, I also made, okay, let me put those away so you can see, otherwise it just starts to look like a bunch of collage everywhere. Then I did decorate up one of the tag bases that we made. So I've got some more of those, and I thought if we had time after the flip, we could make some of those. Otherwise, we'll just make those in the next video. Okay, so to do this, to make them, I am using just some old pages out of my old, I've got a real old encyclopedia, and a napkin. And my napkins that I used are, I used this one, and I used one of this one was in one of them. I used that part. And then I've got this one that I pulled out. These are from the lovely Beth, one of my fellow Minnesotans, Luna Spirit Beth. Hi, Beth. Hope you're well and warm. So what we're going to do is get the napkin on here first. First of all, I have to cut this down a bit because my book is small. So I also did some measuring earlier when I was making the other two and figured out that if I cut it exactly around the edges of the text block like this, it fits the book and has plenty of room to, it has plenty of room to open and close then. So we've got that, but then I don't know if this is gonna, this one was kind of skinnier, so we'll see if it fits on there or not. Now, if you're new to using napkins, there's a couple ways you can do this. You can use Mod Podge and decoupage that onto here. I am not doing that today. I am just going to use my favorite purple disappearing washable glue stick. It works good for me for these things. Plus, we're going to end up sewing over a bunch of it. So then that's going to hold it down too. If you are not sewing, so I'm trying to show you ways that you can do a lot of these things without sewing. If you're not sewing, or if you don't have a sewing machine, then you might want to use Mod Podge, or you can just use some like school glue and water it down a little bit, brush it on, and then put your napkin on, and then brush some over the top, and then let it dry absolutely thoroughly. The reason I like this, couple of reasons: it's faster, a lot less messy, and I don't have to let it dry and wait for the next step. So I'm going to do it with glue stick today. And then again, if you're new, a lot of you know this stuff, so I'm just going to go through it really quickly. Most napkins have multiple plies to them, 2-ply or 3-ply. So if you glued it down just like as is, it would start really bubbling up and everything because your layers are going to start separating. So you've got to get down to the only the printed layer, and it just kind of peels apart. I made that look easy. Usually it's hard. I had it pre-separated. Usually it's hard to get this part going, but there's a trick. If you wrap a piece of tape around your finger, sticky side out, and just tap it, usually you can get it to pull up, and then you'll get to this layer. So this is, you'll want to take both layers. If there's only, this one only had a single, this was just 2-ply, but some of them are 3-ply, so you have to get both of those white layers off the back. And then I'm gonna look here. I want to get the butterflies up to this fold. Yeah, that looks like it should fit well. So I'm gonna cut it right down here right away. These napkins like match perfectly with the journal that we're working on here. Okay, and I'm going to glue stick this really well. And I'm going right up to the edges, and I am pushing down pretty decent amount of glue onto this because I want it to saturate through the napkin as much as possible and really stick that napkin down good. All the way to the edges, although like I said, I will be sewing around the edges and around on top of the napkin quite a bit, so it's not crucial, but still best to start with the best, you know, substrate you can. And then, because you don't want to be pulling this back up once you put it down, right as I say that, okay, I'm just gonna go for middle, and then I can cut around, I think. Yeah, that works. Now I'm just gonna, again, napkins in this state are so flimsy. You just don't want to rough it up too much at all. If you're doing the glue thing, again, light hand with the brush because they tear so easily. The other reason I like doing the glue stick like this is because it leaves this really cool feel that you don't get when you have to Mod Podge back over the top. There, okay. And I like how you can see the book page through there just a little bit. I like that. Okay, so now we're gonna trim around the edges on the back here. Just right up to the edge of that napkin. I mean, the book page. And then I had some white, extra white on this side, so we'll look and see if I need to do some more trimming to get that weird little white stripe off there. Yeah, so let me get this off there first. So see, I've got this little, well, actually that might be okay, because if we put the hinge on that side, yeah, that'll be fine. We'll just put the paper hinge on this side and you won't see it. All right. Since this isn't quite even, I'm going to just cut it off at that green line because I didn't get it on there entirely straight, and that would bug me. Some things bug me, some things don't bug me at all. That would bug me. All right, now before we go any further, I am going to use my ink. Again, this is something you got to be really careful with. Now, this is kind of flimsy because it's just a napkin on top of a book page, and now my book page is wet too, right? So, it's sort of slightly flimsy. You have to be real careful with it in this state. But what we're going to do next is going to firm it up a little. You could, if you wanted to, put two book pages together, like glue two book pages together and then do this over the top. That would be fine. I am just trying to, in the interest of not having anything be too bulky, you know, I'm in the interest of doing that. So I don't mind that it's a little bit flimsy right now because we're going to bulk that up right now. So on the back side, I wanted to make kind of a writing space. And I'll show you this one again a little closer maybe. So there's the front side, and this is that napkin with the birds, real pretty, and then this is the paper hinge, and it flips open, and on the back side I've just got some scraps of like cut off coffee stained papers, and then I've just sewn around and around and around them, and you can kind of see it through on the front, and I don't mind that. I kind of like that look. And then that not only adheres the papers, you know, better, but it also makes sure that this napkin sticks down really well. But I use my glue stick and it's not even trying to, you know, pull up around the edges or anything like that. So it's in pretty good shape. And then I just did a little bit of decorating down that corner. So I've got some scraps here, some offcuts of, you know, coffee stain paper, another scrap user upper thing. And so I'm just going to pick some papers. Let's see, I'm going to have my hinge on this side. So, well, that doesn't really matter because the paper hinge doesn't go in here. And then let's see, looking for any that might have a little more grunge. Well, this one kind of has some grunge to it. And I kind of like having a few chunks of paper rather than like one big piece. This I'm going to slice down just slightly. There you go. And maybe a wider one. And I'm not even trying to be super careful about cutting them to size or anything, because this is kind of supposed to be a little bit messy looking. Yeah. See how quick that was to do? All right, then I'm going to just kind of glue these down. Again, this is just only to hold them in place while I sew around them. Otherwise they move around and then it never looks quite right. Okay. Oops, I think that one was going this way. Yeah. Let's see. I like that side. Okie dokie. Now, the next step is that I'm going to go sew around this. Now, I'm not just gonna, you know, you could just go sew, cut the strings, you know, around each one. But I'm gonna like start here, go down, go across, go around this one like this, and then come back up and go, you know, around this one and sew around a few times, just kind of zigzaggy around until all of a sudden I've got all the sides captured. I don't mind sewing over the same line a couple of times. Matter of fact, I like that look. So I'm just going to start sewing on one side, go around them a bunch, and then go off on the other side. So I will go do that, and then I will be right back. All right. So here it is sewn, and you can probably barely see it on there because the patterning's so heavy, but just enough. You can feel it, and you know, I'm all about textures, and I kind of like the way that that feels, especially with that super cool napkin glued on texture. And then here's how it looks here. And you can kind of see, yeah, that I've just like sewn around, and I've just captured all the edges of everything and gotten around everything. Okay, now I've got a bunch of like offcuts, just slight offcuts in, again, scrap bin. And this is part of, I had at one point done some dictionary pages with some kind of like faux eco-dyeing spraying techniques that I was trying out, experimenting with. And I really like that strip of paper for this journal. So it's going to be our hinge. Now the hinge is what is going to put it over the edge of the paper and attach it to our page. Here we go. So on the inside, you just see the page that it's on is coming and meeting right up against this, against what we're making. But on the outside, you see the hinge here, and the hinge carries over on this side. So basically it's just like wrapping around and glued on, and that's what makes it flip out. To some of you that's old news, and to some of you that's new news. So there you go. In order to make one, you can make them as wide as you want or as skinny as you want. This one is this wide because that's how wide it is. So then you just fold it in half, and I am going to slowly work it in half the best I can, as close as I can get to half. There we go. Some of that. See, I like this idea and I like the results, but some of the paint is kind of chalky. So it wouldn't be a long-term thing, that's for sure. Okay, so now we're gonna put our paper in there, and I'm just gonna give it a trim. All right, and so all that's left to do is glue the hinge onto this side. So we've got our hinge, right? And I want to glue this side of the hinge and attach it to my page. So if you need to do this to remember, because sometimes I have to have tricks so I don't glue the wrong side, because we don't want it glued all the way down around this whole thing. That's not the point. We don't want this side glued to this side. We just want this side glued to the front. So I'm going to just put glue only on this side of the fold. Hope this makes sense. And then I'm going to push it right up to the fold, make sure it meets the bottom and the top. You can always trim it off later if it's over. And then slowly just push my edge over and glue the front side of the hinge down. Now you should still be able to open it up like this, right? So now we have our hinge here. Mine's off just a hair on top, so I'm going to snip that off. The bottom is good. Now we just need to find a page in here. Now the way I did the other one that had a vellum pocket on front is I just put a big piece of vellum after I did the stitching. So I did this stitching, right? Let me see if I can find it so I can show you, so you know of what I am speaking. Come on. Where did I put you? Oh, right there. So this one, because the napkin was just like this, so it didn't have any very, like, you know, butterflies or any sort of one focal point or anything. And I just stuck that tag in there as a placeholder so you could see that it was a pocket. But here I made my hinge out of some ledger, right? So that's the hinge. And the back is the same, so I sewed all of the little scraps on there. Then I laid my pocket on. I sewed some lace onto the top of the pocket just to give it a little more heft so that the vellum doesn't tear. I folded a little flap over and sewed lace across the top of that. And then I just sewed around that pocket as well. But I did that after. If you put the vellum on, then you'll just be sewing these on through that, and then you would end up with no pocket, and it would look kind of strange. So, but to make the pocket, you put the vellum on after you've done the sewing, and then sew around that once too. So that's how I did that one. So, okay, now let's find a place we want to put this in here. Let's see, and it's going to go on this kind of side. I like this page. It's as good as any. Oh yeah, because then I like how this green and this green kind of tie in back on the back side of it. So now I am going to apply glue only to this side of my hinge. And then I'm going to kind of line it up and use my fingers to make sure that it's snug up against the edge of the page. and that I'm lined up on the top and the bottom, centered if I want to be, or towards one end or the other if I want to be. And then slowly work it on there. Make sure I stay snugged up against the edge, right? I want to stay snugged up. Otherwise, you're just folding the hinge onto itself, and that's no good. And you're just gluing the page to the page. Okay, so then it should open up just like so. Ta-da! All right, I like that so far. However, it's got a little spot down here that needs, you know, something. So I'm going to close that up for a second while we decide what that something is. And on the other one, I put a little tab. We can maybe do a tab here. Let's see. Let's see if that, you got to be careful to make sure that it doesn't go too far, because otherwise it won't fold, right? So it's got to be able to fold in. So if I glue my tab in a little bit more than normal, it'll fit. So I think we'll do one. I'll ink this up. It's kind of fun, and it gives you that, it tells people that have never like had their hands on the journal before. Sometimes it's hard to tell. Well, we'll leave that. I'm going to glue it on and all at the same time. Sometimes it's hard to tell like what does what, and you're afraid to rip pages out or something. So if there's a tab on something, it kind of gives you that like suggestion. Oh, this does something. It opens up. Or all right, these are just we're going back to the Tracy Fox field notes, labels, and oh, I kind of like that one. Figure 1, 2, 3, 4, because there's like multiple things on there. Yeah, I like that one. So we'll go with that. And then if we've got this here, do we need something else? Maybe a little butterfly from the kit, since there's butterflies on the page already. Or is that too much? That's too much butterflies. Too much butterflies. That's from the kit, though. We could put something like that on there. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. This just adds a nice little extra, you know, to the corner. Always looking for ways to zhuzh things up a little. All right. And then we'll put this little petal thing down here. And then we'll glue on the tab. Do I want the tab? Now that I've got that there, do I want, I'm going to put the tab up higher. And then remember, just again, remember to put it in far enough so that you've got, you know, at least a 1/4 inch here for the page to close, and not have it be bending this, you know. Okay, so that's going to be what that looks like. And then on the back side here, where that tab is, I think I just want to put, that's where I'm going to put a butterfly. So let me grab a butterfly. Let's see. That might be too big. That one's okay. Yeah. And I'm just going to use the little bit of ink left on my inker here. And we'll glue that down. Sometimes, I mean, you could put cheesecloth behind it right here, because you know how I love cheesecloth. But then sometimes when I'm doing this kind of stuff too, I gotta stop with too much cheesecloth, because then it gets too bulky. And then, you know, we have to remove, like we were talking in the video, the Q&A video, that's when you have to start removing pages and stuff. And I try not to do that. I try to not, well, I try, but I end up bulking things up. So, okay. So there's that. A nice little flip. And you could add, I mean, you can add tons of them if you really want to. It's kind of nice if you have 2 of them in the middle of, you know, in the middle of a signature or something. That's a fun place. And you can open them up. You could put a pocket on the front instead of like the vellum pocket. You could just put a pocket, or if it was one that, you know, if it was like this one, you could just put an envelope on there or something. But it's a nice way to make a flip. So, and like I said, it's not super thick, so it's not bulking anything up too much, but it also adds this nice texture and another cool, nice hand feel thing. So, okay, well, we're doing pretty good. So let's see if we can decorate a tag or 2 here. So here's the one. So if you remember this video, I used a bunch of my offcuts from cutting pages down for this journal to make a big sheet of paper, and then I sliced those down into tags. I glued them onto coffee stain paper so they're already backed, and I've sewn around all of them. And I decorated one of these, so let's do one of this color, huh? This one is just layered up with some paper, a little bird. I made a few of these ruffles here, and all this is a ripped off strip of muslin and a little snippet of the green leaf trim. If you are looking for that, you can find it several sellers on eBay, and you can find it on Amazon, and you can also buy it in Hobby Lobby, and they have it in a couple different colors as well. So if you're searching for it, just search something like leaf trim, and you'll find it. So I made several of these, and this has just got one glued on there. And then this is a little number that's got glossy accents on there. And this is a ribbon. So yeah, so let's do something like that. Now this, because this wants to bend and fold in quarters where the pages thing is. Now this one doesn't want to do that so much because I sewed that ribbon on. So that's now become like stabilizing. So I think we're going to have to do something like that to this one. We're going to have to put something down it. And now I have more of that green ribbon. So let's see. I wish I had kind of a, you know, this kit has some of these nice, it has kind of these nice blues in it too, but I don't think I have any ribbon that's that color. And I don't think I even have any sari that's that color. Not exactly. I've got some that's like way brighter. Yeah, we'll just go with this. Or, you know, I could do, we could do a piece of, a strip of muslin. That might not be so bad, right? Oh, and then on this one, I kind of frayed it on the end. And then on the top, I folded it over as I was sewing to make the tab at the top. So we could do that with muslin too, although this is like a weird, that's like a weird one. So let me see. I've got always on my desk here this little thing with a bunch of odd, like ripped off strips and pieces and bits and stuff and junk. We could, ooh, I like this fabric. Let's cut a strip of that maybe. This is like a thicker, almost canvasy kind of thing. I don't think it rips, does it? Oh, it does. I don't know if I've ever tried ripping. Well, I must, because look at the other side is ripped. I just haven't used this stuff for a while. That's why it was on the bottom. And pull off the little extra thready guys. See how it's speckled? When I coffee stained it, I had some, I mean, the fabric itself is kind of speckly anyway. But then when I when I coffee stained it, I had some cinnamon in there, and it kind of sticks to the cloth and makes it look cool. I'm just putting in like a little crease so I don't lose the spot. Then I want to do my tab on top, and then we'll say like there. Ah, this is very stringy stuff. Okay, now let's just make it a little, pull a few strings out of the bottom. Oh, that's the top. This is the bottom. I was wondering, I was like, it already has strings out. There we go. So we will sew, I'm going to sew that on. Yeah, so I'm going to go like this. I am going to sew across and catch the back side of this at the same time, and then sew down and back up, and I will be right back. Okay, so there we go. It's a little long on the bottom, so once I started sewing it, it started stretching a little. So luckily I don't have to worry about trying to make it ripped because it frays so nicely. It's a nice wide weave. Okay, so we've got that on there, and it caught the back like that, so it's the nice little tab. Then I think, let's see, I've got some of my rip strips. We could maybe put one of the bigger ones since we've got a lot of space here. We've got a lot of real estate. We could put, yeah, one of the bigger ones. And then I do have some fussy cut mushrooms that I put out too, because, you know, we can't, guys, can't do a nature journal without some mushrooms on it. Like a taller one. Kind of like the way that that red goes with the, that orangey red goes with the red on there. Oh, or here's like a red. I like that one. Okay, so we'll just move them back up there. And that is definitely not enough. So we could put one of these on there as well, somewhere. Let's see, that could go. You know what? I'm going to switch the word from leaf to nature. There we go. I saw that sitting over there and thought, yep, that's the one I want. That could go up there. What else does it need? Let me look at the, does it need a butterfly too? It might, guys. It might need a butterfly too. A butterfly with some cheesecloth under it. Here's where we can put cheesecloth. Things like this. Can't stop myself completely from using cheesecloth. I could put some under the mushroom and some under the butterfly to just kind of make them stand out a little more. So I'm going to cut a longer hunk for under there and a smaller, wider chunk for under you. Let's see. Do I like this on here or not? Or should we move this to this side? Put this guy down here. Nope, I like it the way it was before. Okay, so since I'm gluing to of that fabric, I'm just going to use some of this to put this down. This is my, it's not Fabri-Tac, it's 3-in-1, but you know, much the same. Did I just put that in the wrong place? Heavens to Betsy. Yep, I did. Oh well, it's fine. We'll work with it. We'll roll with it. Okay, just gonna make sure that that's adhered really well to everything here. We'll go like that. We'll do this and see if it needs more or something else now that I messed with it. See if I can't kind of curl that a little. 'Cause well, why not? Not much in nature is absolutely straight. And then we'll put some of this down, mush it around and glue. Oh, you know what, that needs a little ink. I'm going to give it a goodly amount of glue because it's got to go through cheesecloth and stick to fabric. So I want it to have the best fighting chance to stay on here real good. And then I'm going to give that a press down for a second. Put this over here. I like that. Then it needs like one more thing up there though or something. Oh, I've got some of these little words. Nah, they're too small and I've already got a word right there. Okay, we'll put, you know, I wonder if it wants something under it. Let's see if there's some sort of label. Yep, that'll do her. Man, labels, I tell you, you can't ever have too many labels. They're just like, it's the last thing you add on something and then you go, yep, that's exactly what it called for. Tell me I'm wrong. Don't tell me I'm wrong, because I'm not. Okay. Oh, this cloth is really thick, so I want to just make sure it's like pressed down really good on there. I like the cloth, don't get me wrong, but I want to also make sure that it's really adhered. Okay, now I'm just kind of messing with my cheesecloth a little here so we can glue our butterfly down. Again, giving it a goodly amount of glue here because it's got to soak through a couple of layers. Also, if you're new to this stuff and you just got yourself your first bottle of Fabri-Tac or art glitter glue, that's this one, make sure you recap them in between using them because they both dry really fast and you don't want, you know, you want to extend the life of your bottle of glue as best you can. There we go. Ooh, I like that one, you guys. I like how that turned out. There, see? Yeah. And on the back, you can still write. Awesome. So I'm going to keep pushing that down. And then later on, I might do things like, and this will be a later on decision. Once I start putting things into the journals, then I'll start making decisions like if I want to put a bulb pin with like some beads or something on it, or buttons. Sometimes I like to hang those off of if I have fabric tabs like this. And sometimes, not. Sometimes it's but that's a game time decision when we're loading up the book. Why doesn't that want to stick down? This cloth is like really sucking up the glue. Maybe that's why I haven't been using it. Make sure everything else is stuck down really good though. Literally, you guys were watching glue dry. Isn't that fun? Are you having fun yet? Are you having fun yet? Okay, I think that's going to be better. All right, so there's those two. Should we do one more? Should we do one more? I think we got a few minutes. We can do one more. Which one should we do? Should we do another? I like this color. Let's do another one of these. And I like this green ribbon on it, so I think we'll put some more of that green ribbon on there. Oh yeah, and I can show you my trick with this. This is wired ribbon, and I'm pretty sure that I got this super cheap on sale at the end of like summer or something. This was either, let's see, does it say a holiday? It was like a spring ribbon that was on clearance in the fall, or like a winter, you know, holiday ribbon or something. Watch for that stuff, guys. That's like a great way to get your ribbons on sale and for cheap. Then we're gonna see. So, you know, it'd be really, if I'm sewing this down, it's wired, but it's not wired with wire that's like bendable and shapeable. It's that thin plastic stuff that's supposed to give it body for if you're making a bow or something like this. But we don't want that ribbon in there for this application. But don't hesitate buying wired ribbon, because what you do is just take it. I'm grabbing my two fingers and sliding them together, and that is pushing out. Do you see that tiny little? Yeah, that just pushes it out. Then you just grab it with your fingers and pull. It pulls right out. So there's that one. And then you got to get the one on the other side. So I grab it right on the seam here, push my fingers together, and then pinch down and grab that guy out of there. And there's that one. So it's all there. So now we have a totally flexible ribbon, which is what we want. And I'm going to do this and find where I want to fold it again and put in a little finger crease. And then we'll just pull some extra fray off of that one and cut that very straight and cut it a little straighter. And then, oops, come on. Well, that just made a mess. And I have gluey fingers. And then I'll fray this end a little. Why not? Because we'll already just have a mess of fray. I got it with my fingers that time. All right. It's the small victories. There's my finger crease. So I am going to, again, go sew around and sew this ribbon on. And then I'll be right back. Okay, here we go. I've got it sewn on. And when I sew on things like this, a lot of times what I'll do is a straight stitch for a while, then a zigzag for a while. I know a lot of people do that, but I'm just showing you, you know, I'm trying to like think of as many things as I do up front here. Okay, so I've got, I've got my little those. And maybe this time, instead of book page or something, should we look at what we've got from the kit here? And maybe we put one of these on there. I kind of like that. So we'll go with that. And then maybe we'll add a butterfly and some cheesecloth. Let's see, or that's birds. Do we want to add a bird somehow? Well, that's maybe too much. That's maybe doing the most. Let's go back to labels and see if it needs a label or something. My daughter just came in here and said, the 17-year-old, and said that they want to edit one of my videos. Mostly so they can do a bunch of dumb stuff, I'm sure. So maybe sometime in the near future you'll see them. They have to figure out how to use iMovie and everything. But, I'm pretty sure that they would do it just in order to do dumb things on my video. I will say, she just came in and stuck her face all in my camera underneath here. So I'm going to just, because I'm going to stick a little shot of that right here.
Mommy should let me edit your video.
There you go. That's Lizzie. Did you like meeting her? That's her nose. That's her face. Oh my gosh. Now I'm gonna have to figure out how to edit. Well, I don't have to figure out. I know how to edit to get that little bit out. That's already been inked. Okay, so I like that, and I like this label down here. But I still think it does call for a butterfly. So let's see if we can find one in my little jar. Oh, butterflies. That brings a little color to the party. Or do we want a white one? That's too blendy-inny. We don't want blendy-inny. We want standy-outy. Blue, blue, red, yellow, orange. There, I kind of like that one. That's enough standy-outy and enough blendy-inny that it's just right. Then let's switch it up, and instead of cheesecloth, we'll use some of this. This is just cold brew. Let's see, filter. It acts kind of like tea bag wood or something. Yeah, all right. That was a lot less painless than the last one. Sometimes when I'm doing collage, do you guys find the same thing? Like if you're doing collage, the first few, I'm like super indecisive. And then after I get going, I'm like, okay, yeah. And I kind of find a rhythm. And then I start second guessing my decisions a lot less and whatever. That's kind of what happens for me. At first, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I like that. But then once I've done one or two of them, then I kind of hit my rhythm. And also, I think part of that is just, collage is collage, but at the same time, every project that you're doing kind of calls for something different. So, you don't just want every project that I make, I don't want it to all just look the same. I don't want to be one note. I think that's part of why I like doing, I'm just going to hold this down extra few seconds here. That's part of why I like doing so many different themes, even though I come back to nature like every other journal or something, because I really do love this theme here. But I like trying different things too, because I like doing different, kind of pushing myself and pushing my supplies and my creative process to try different things too. So it's not always, like I said, I just don't want to end up very one note. I try to do that with my digitals too. I mean, if you look at my digitals kits, I have like a whole bunch of different kinds. Some of that is born out of, you know, requests from people over the years. If I've had time, not, you know, not so much anymore, just because now I've kind of found that I need to have some sort of inspiration behind it. But yeah, sometimes if I have time, I just push myself and try different things. Okay, I'm just going to hold all this down. Make sure everything is adhering well. If you're new to Fabri-Tac or Beacon's glue and you have nail polish on, just be prepared. It's not going to stay on. The stuff has rubbing alcohol in it. That's part of what makes it dry so fast. It also makes it smell. So if you're sensitive to smells, I would not recommend this glue. But it just takes your nail polish right off. It's acetone in there, not rubbing alcohol. Okay, we'll put this little label down here. I'm going to put that right on there so it can kind of weigh it down a little. And then I want to stick this just under the edge a little. And we'll tighten that on. And we'll just hold all this down a little bit more. I like how this one's turned out too. Awesome. We got a flip made and 2 tags collaged and ready for the book. Whoops. I will probably collage the rest of those tag bases off camera. And so there we go. Well, not that one we didn't do, but we did these 2. I'll do the rest of those tag bases off camera, and then I'll just show you next time in my next video. I'll show you what they look like, how they ended up. And yeah, and then we will work on a few more things. I think we're going to make some snippets, some like little corner snippet things to go as embellishments. And oh, maybe we'll decorate up the rest of those those pieces that I was doing in my last video. Or I might do them offline. We'll see. And then we'll start decorating the pages of the signature. So we'll start putting these things into the signatures and then start working on covers and things after that. So thanks for hanging out with me for a little bit today. And if you have questions, drop them in the comment section. And you know, I will try to get to them in videos, or I do try to read and respond to my comments as well. Sorry, I feel like after every video, I'm picking glue off my fingers. I just have to do this so I stop picking glue, so you don't have to watch me pick glue off my fingers. Anyway, if you have questions, drop them in the comments, and I will try to either answer them, or if it takes a longer answer, I will try to answer it in one of my upcoming videos. I am filming ahead a little bit because we just have some, you know, family stuff on the weekend, and Sundays are busy with church and stuff. So, although that said, I am thinking about maybe doing a live video. Yeah, maybe this weekend, but however, you won't be seeing this till Saturday. So anyway, I'll post it in the community. If you watch my community notes or whatever, then I'll try to post one there, or I try to post it on Facebook too. So if you see me live, come and pop in and we will hang out and do something crafty and chat. I love chatting with you guys. That's what I miss about the lives, is chatting with you guys. So anyway, thanks for hanging out with me for a little bit today. Hope you have had a good time. Hopefully you are being creative at home and finding time to do that. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, middle of the night, whatever time it is, wherever you are, on whatever side of this globe of ours that you live on, that we all share. And until I see you next time, stay safe and healthy and be creative in whatever way makes you happy, and be blessed. I will see you guys soon. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.